What's up, guys? I'm Tim Gettys. This is episode 6 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller. Claps for them. But now, for the first time ever, we got the producer
First and only time.
seducer himself.
The first and only time you picked a subject I might be able to actually talk about. What's up, Tim?
There's a lot of subjects, a lot of things. You know a lot about video games, Nick.
I
You've
know
proved
more
that
than
to me recently.
I know more than I think I know.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot less than I think I know. In most
simultaneously.
That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Doesn't make a
That's
goddamn
like the
lick of
direct
sense.
contradiction, actually.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to make any sense. We're doing our own thing now. We don't have to make sense anymore.
All I know is you're no good at IDARB.
Damn.
No,
That's really exciting because we got a bunch of controllers from Xbox today.
We got everybody. We have enough controllers now to do full-on 8-player IDARB.
Yeah, and you blew my mind a bit that
Yeah.
there's 8 players. I didn't know that that was a thing with IDARB.
Yeah.
Because with 4 players, that was already
chaos.
Well, with 2 players,
I wonder
even,
if the arenas open up a little bit when there's 8.
I hope they don't, because then it
hope
can be
they
a
don't
team
either.
sport. You toss it around, you do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So
Then you just have a
Then
play
goalie.
positions.
the pass function would actually make sense instead of just Greg throwing it like a loony.
Hey, you know what? It got me to the finals.
I'm
Did I
moving-
win?
I'm
No,
moving the
but it
ball
got me to
around,
the finals.
everybody. I'm
Colin
moving the
beat me.
ball.
Yeah,
Proud of him.
that was nice.
He
It was
needed some
quite
redemption.
beautiful.
He needed to get up out of the dirt after the Tetris debacle.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was
see.
bad.
We'll
That
do
was
it again.
real
We'll do
bad.
Tetris again. We'll see what
We'll do IDARB again.
Yeah, we'll see what
But
happens.
when we
there,
team
too.
up, you and I need to be a team.
I was thinking that it would actually make the most sense for Nick and I to be a team since it was the top and the. Did you lose?
I lost to Greg.
You're the
You lost to
lowest.
Greg
You're
and
the lowest of the
you
lowest.
lost to me. Who scored the fewest points?
Probably me. I think Tim did a lot better than I did.
So it should be me. I mean, to be fair,
I choked.
it should be the best player and the worst player. By
Nobody wants it to be fair, though.
I'm fine
What
with
we
fair.
really need is we have all the controllers now. We have 4 kind of funny people. We need to have 4 non-kind of funny
Someone
people
else.
roll in here.
Yeah.
See, what I think you're
Kinda
not
serious.
taking into account is that Tim and I have a cadence in life, in all things in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you put us together, we're going to be a power duo.
Yeah.
Because Tim's going to actually research how to beat the game and like how to be best at it.
I break
And I
games,
just
bro.
have the reflexes of a much younger man. At least the
And he's
32-year-old
charming,
man.
too.
I am. So I'll play charmingly. But I'll play
I mean, if you
dirty.
want Greg and I to be on the
charmingly.
team, that's fair. I'm just saying I don't know if that's.
I still think we should all be on a team and challenge some.
I like that
some
too.
schlubs like Giant Bomb.
Damn. Okay, that's the call out right there.
You just threw down
The
gauntlet, my
IDARB
friend.
challenge. Hashtag IDGAF
Gertzman picks
about
it up.
IDARB.
I have no idea what that.
IDGAF? I don't give a fuck. Come on. Step up your freaking teenage game, Greg Miller.
LOLs.
All right, it's time for the rigmarole. This show, very similar to the Game Over Greggy show, releases Monday through Thursday on the YouTubes. Full episode on Friday. Full episode Friday on iTunes and all that stuff. But you can get it earlier at kindoffunnygames.com. Nope, that's not right. I was so close. Kindoffunny.com, where you can get all of
Close.
it. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Or kindoffunny.bandcamp.com, which now there's a new function that I don't even know if you guys know about. I was talking to the Bandcamp people. You can subscribe on Bandcamp.
I saw
so it's
that.
like it's a thing. It's $10 a month, and if you pay for it, or it might be $8. I think it might be $8. For $8 a month, you get the Game Over Greggy show and
That makes sense.
Gamescast, and it's just the audio. You don't get all the exclusive fun Patreon stuff. So
Yeah.
definitely Patreon's the cool place to go.
Sure.
But if you just want just the audio and you just want it early and you want both shows and it'll give it to your Bandcamp app and all that stuff, because there's a lot of people out there that really like Bandcamp because it's nice and you can get the FLAC downloads and all that stuff, and it's crazy. It's beautiful. You can do that and subscribe, and that'd be fun.
Be fun.
Before
Yeah,
we begin, I want to give a big shout out to Walter on Twitter at Walter's Next. He bought both the Kind of Funny T-shirt and the producer/seducer shirt, and he tweeted me a picture of the producer/seducer shirt, and it looks like if you were to actually physically wear sex.
Oh yeah,
That's what this shirt looks like. It looks like if you're going to put it on your body. This is no guarantee that this will happen, okay? I'm not going to go out on a limb and be like, let's make ourselves legally liable for this. But it looks like if you were to wear this shirt, you would feel like it was having sex with your body in a good way for the entire duration of its wear.
Is there a
Wow.
bad way of having
Wow.
sex with your body?
I've had some bad
it's
sex.
non-consensual, but
Yeah.
yeah.
There's lots of bad ways, actually.
guess that's
I mean, I imagine Greg's terrible at
Volkswagens.
sex.
I am
Is
awful.
there such a thing as bad sex?
It's like bad pizza.
I mean, sex is sex, right? There's just sex that's not as good as other sex.
That's true.
Like pizza.
I mean, there are, in the varying
bad
degree
pizza. I've
of
had bad
things
pizza.
that are good and bad, sex is still always good, I think, in general.
All right. Well, we're
As
just talking
opposed-
about shirts, and this kind of went into this, but I do want to say,
So if you want to
sex
get
is like pizza is a good shirt.
sex is like pizza. If you want to check out all of our shirts, ladies and gentlemen, go to
kindoffunny.com/store.
yes,
We're all
thank
very
you.
tired.
Jesus.
Go
Wow.
to,
I was gonna say district kind of funny, but kindoffunny.com/store. We got some great ones. We have maybe some mugs coming, and those won't be the only things coming if you buy the producer /
Wow.
producer shirt.
My God.
Damn, son. Damn,
I'm saying
son.
if you buy that shirt, it'll come as well onto your body.
Do what you want.
Yeah.
So the shirt will come on your body. I got it for
Do
sure.
what you want.
All right, guys. First topic of this week is the Nintendo Content ID conundrum that is facing YouTube
I've heard of
right
this.
now. Let me tell you guys a little bit more details about it.
Thank you.
So it's the Nintendo Creators Program. Nintendo says, in the past, advertising proceeds that could be received for videos that included Nintendo copyrighted content, such as gameplay videos, went to Nintendo, according to YouTube's rules. A statement on the program's website reads, now through this service, Nintendo will send you a share of those advertising proceeds for any YouTube videos or channels containing Nintendo copyrighted content that you register. Videos with Nintendo content must be original gameplay footage captured by the user. Members are also required to present the following disclosure in each video, either verbally or as an on-screen caption. Quote, I have a license to use Nintendo's content in this video through the Nintendo Creators Program. This video is not sponsored or endorsed by Nintendo.
You
but
just, while they're reading this, you just see the gun like come in, like
Yeah,
out of frame and back
exactly,
in.
but any advertising revenue from this video will be shared with Nintendo. So if you're interested in participating, you can register a Nintendo's Creators Program account via the website. The advertisement revenue share is 70% for channels and 60% for videos, and all payments will be made via PayPal in USD.
This makes me
That's
laugh.
some bullshit.
People are upset about this,
should
including PewDiePie himself,
Yeah, Boogie too.
the champion of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, and PewDiePie said what everyone's thinking, that Nintendo games have just gone straight to the bottom of his list of games that he wants to deal with or has to deal with. Because this is the bullshit thing, right? It says, I can read it from here because I got my glasses on. In the past, advertising proceeds that could be received for videos that include Nintendo copyrighted content went to Nintendo according to YouTube rules. Well, I'm a little confused about that because Nintendo is the one that's striking the videos or marking the videos to get the money, right? I mean, this is what happened in the past. So that's first of all, it's bullshit.
As of last year, they did that.
Yeah.
So they were one of the companies that initiated. They got 100%. So here, they are at least. I mean, they're giving away 70% of the stuff.
Right, but they're making it seem like it's YouTube's rules. I don't think YouTube went to fucking Washington and was like, hey guys, or Kyoto, and was like, we have a rule. If it's a Nintendo video, you get all of the money. You know, I don't think
Like, well, we don't want to take it from fans, but if that's YouTube's
that's
rule,
so disingenuous.
So here's the thing. I do not want to come off like I'm saying that this is a good thing, because it's not at all. But I do think that people are jumping down the throat of it a little. Before I even go down this, there is some even worse things where there's this process where even if you're registered for this, it takes days to get approved for each video.
Per video.
Per video. So you need to wait to get approved
They're
for
the
each
best.
video and all this. And it's like, in this, this is our jobs. This is our living. We can't do that. Like, we can't wait a couple days to see if our thing gets approved to then get 70%. Like, from already when you're splitting with YouTube, like what, 50%, 40%, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that makes no sense. So we're getting 70% of 50%, which is, I'm not good at math, but there's something there.
50% of 70%, you're saying?
70% of 50%.
70% of 50% is
30-something%.
Is that even possible? I think.
Well, yeah, you just have a new total when you do the 70, and then you take 50 of that, or vice versa. There's no until you have a real amount.
It's really
you can't do
simple
it.
math.
What?
I'm
No,
stupid.
it's not, because until you have a number, you can't do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm
percentage
saying
of a percentage
percentage-wise.
is, I don't know.
Whatever. I
It's
don't
been,
know.
it's been a good show.
Replace for X and extrapolate. No, this is
I'm
just
so
some
glad I
bullshit.
came on this
And
show.
the weird thing is that it's interesting so many people are mad about it now and not when it originally came out, right? Because when it originally happened, Nintendo's like, we're going to copyright claim all our videos and take all the money. People were angry, but they weren't like they are now.
I
And
think they were.
it seems now people
But
are
it's just one of
way
those
more
things-
vocal. Well, I think now Let's
They're not
Plays-
going to be vocal in like 2 weeks, though. That's the thing. It's the same thing that happened last time. Every time this happens with any of the companies, people are like, fuck this. This is fucking bullshit. And then they don't notice it ever because it doesn't matter to them. So
Right.
they shut the fuck up. And I think that's going to happen again here.
I don't. I think it all depends on how aggressive Nintendo is. We've talked about this before. We do Smash every Wednesday, right? We so far have not gotten any strikes or had anybody say they're claiming our money on it. Once they do, Smash on Wednesday ends. And I think that's the same thing here. I haven't heard, even though PewDiePie's talking about it, he hasn't been struck, has he? He hasn't had these agreements placed on him, right? Or not the agreement. He hasn't had anybody come try to take his money, right?
I don't know if PewDiePie has. There have been other people that
When
have been. hit by
Nintendo
this.
gets aggressive and comes after people who are vocal and have audiences, that's when they have a problem. Right now, if they're just trying to take a piece of these gamers who are putting up Let's Plays and have 50 subs or whatever, that's a different story, right? Because then, what are they going to say?
I
They
don't
know.
think that's what they're targeting, though.
Who are they targeting?
I think they're targeting the IGNs or the USs of the world that are actually.
But why hasn't that happened? This is what I'm saying. This isn't new.
If I remember correctly, they tried to do it, and they've been trying to do it, but I think it's probably a much bigger uphill battle than they think they have. It's not easy. You know how many people are creating content based on their games?
Yeah, but again,
content ID in games is harder than music or videos and stuff.
It's not hard to look at IGN or kind of funny
but I think
games and say they're doing it and do it.
I don't think they're going to go after companies like IGN. And I'm wondering if they've not gone after us because we're too small or because we have an MCN. Because I think that those are
it's the MCN.
Yeah, so I think that there's like multiple layers because we're represented obviously by the collective. We very much appreciate them. I agree with Greg. The second that Nintendo goes after one of our videos, we are not doing Nintendo content anymore. And
I'm not
playing I'm not playing their game.
We'll be putting up videos saying why we're not doing it. You know what I mean? Like that's a big deal. Like that's the PR battle they fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So going back on this, like I do not want to sound like I'm on the side of.
Just admit
Nintendo
you're a
on
Nintendo
this.
fanboy.
No, but like, it's because that's nothing to do with Nintendo.
The 3DS library is so much
It is
better
way
than
better
the
than the
Vita's
Vita. It's not even-
library.
Thank you for the information, by the way, that there are more 75 plus games on Metacritic for Vita than there are 3DS.
Oh my god.
IDARB.
There's more 90s for Nintendo though, so it's all that matters. Anyways, so for the YouTube side of it, like what they're saying about the Nintendo, like Nintendo said that YouTube says that. YouTube does say that. It's up to the people to
come after.
act
Well,
on it,
that's what I'm
whatever.
saying,
But,
and- but that's
they are the
disingen-
ones. It is their content though. Like it's not disingenuous because it is. They are the ones creating the stuff. It's like it's the same thing if we.
No, look,
if
they have
someone
a-
made a movie or something.
like-
Like they own the movie, and for technically you're not allowed to use it. Technically, we're not allowed to do Let's Plays. Like all the people that are doing Let's Plays and are upset about it. Guess what, guys? You're not allowed to do that. You're just doing it, and you're pissed off that they're mad because so many other people get away with it.
I don't dispute
but they're
the-
not allowed to.
I don't dispute the legality of it.
So it's not a matter of being allowed or not allowed to do it. It really comes down to the IP holder, and that's my understanding of the issue. And I think yes, you're absolutely right. Letter of the law says it is their game. It is their IP that people are creating content with. They should be allowed to dictate what kind of content gets made. The thing that bothers me is that you can fight that battle all you want, but it is a losing battle. And not only that, but the only company or entity it's going to hurt is Nintendo in the end. They're getting a ton of free marketing. Like, how many people will still continue to play Smash for the next year? And how many games do you know that are that relevant for that long? Like, that stay that relevant that long online, right? Not many, not a handful. Maybe Call of Duty and some other fighting games or some other first-person shooters. But for the most part, content creators like us are keeping this type of content alive, and we're keeping these titles alive because we love them, and that's the whole spirit of YouTube. When you come out against that and say, look, we want to take a huge piece of that pie, there's no incentive for growth there, and so inevitably that business is going to die because what you're basically telling people is stop, not hey, share the wealth. It's hey, go play someone else's game that doesn't do this.
See, I see it from another perspective, and again, at the end of the day, I am on our side.
Yeah,
of this.
you're in Reggie's pocket. Just admit it.
No, but what it
better
comes
be on
down
our
to
side
is
of
I
it.
think that
you're
I think
fired.
what Nintendo's trying to do, and they're doing it wrong. Like they do everything wrong. Like there's so much shit that they do that they think they're doing right, and they just aren't. And this is a perfect example of it. Is I think this is them trying to support YouTube and stuff, and they think this is good, and they're like, oh, you're getting 70%. Like that's great to all the people that aren't making anything, you know. And I think that's the angle they're coming from with this whole thing, and it is wrong. They're stupid because you're right. Like PewDiePie even said this in some interview I read. I don't remember where it was, but he was saying that people aren't coming to him to watch him play Nintendo games or watch him play any games. They're coming to him for him. And when they see him playing these games, that's the free marketing, and that's where it comes into. Nintendo sees it the other way, where they're like, oh, they're coming for Smash Bros. And it's like, no, they're not. Like, that's the problem.
I mean, and that's debatable and that's a relative thing, but I do know this. If they come to us and say, and I'm with Colin on this, like, you know, we got to fight this battle, because if they come to us and say, look, we're going to take your money out of your pocket because you're playing our game, we're going to play Smash off camera because it's a great game and I would not play that game.
I'm
and then
going
we're
to
going to go play
Wii U in
IDARB.
the street.
Are you going to just run over it?
We're going to
with
make
your
a
foot?
video of it. I mean, no, I won't throw it.
Well, that's
we'll
the
continue to play.
thing about it. No one contends the legality of what they're saying. They own the IP, right? Now, I'm not sitting here and being like they legally don't own the right to Mario Brothers. Obviously, it's a broadcast of Mario, and they can say no. The idea is it smart, and does it make
That's what I'm
sense?
saying.
Definitely not
and
smart.
and it is disingenuous because they're no different than any other publisher. Devolver Digital, who's been very vocal about being like, do anything you want with our games, anything you want, because they're not, stupid about it. They understand that they've sold literally millions of games because of Let's Plays.
Yeah.
That they're like, they can also be like, oh, by the letter of the law on YouTube, we own 100% of the video. And no, it's that. That's why that's a disingenuous statement. Everyone knows that that's a disingenuous statement. That's been going on all over the place. It's not a difference at all.
There's a difference when how many views are those games getting compared to how many views Nintendo games are getting. Like Nintendo,
a game like Hotline Miami probably would contend with almost any Nintendo game when on YouTube. That's how the game got big. You know what I mean? So it's not like there's Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, but it's like Hotline Miami is huge. So it's
but when you think about like all the YouTube channels that just focus on Nintendo stuff and how many views those get, like Nintendo could be making so much money from this YouTube stuff.
Sure.
So it's like from a business standpoint, like it's one of those things where why. Like I understand that they're losing a lot of this free advertising and all that stuff for the people that are like, fuck you, we're not going to cover this anymore. But for all the people that are like, whatever, 70% is fine, or they just don't care about that, they're still getting that, and then Nintendo's just making money from it. Then.
But do you think the big people will continue to do that?
I think that a lot of people will, and I mean a lot of people before when Nintendo said fuck it, we're taking 100%, they stopped. Like Rooster Teeth straight up just didn't do Nintendo content forever, and then they like kind of went back on it, and so they started again. But it's one of those things where it's like Nintendo as a business. They're going to make hella money from this shit.
Well, yeah, I have no doubt they'll come up on the upside of this, right? They're going to make money off of this. It'll be a positive revenue stream for them. Is it right to do it? No. In short term, yeah, they'll make money. In long term, does it just continue to hurt their reputation, and does it continue to quelch creativity on the internet and on YouTube? Yes, I think it does. I think there is a huge amount of power in the freedom of saying we shouldn't be letting creators do this, but we're going to do it anyway because there's something special about this, and there's something amazing about an entire community out there that is formed around this title that we make. Maybe we should just focusing on making more of these titles and putting them out to those communities so that they can be our spokesperson and our vast marketing machine, which, by the way, cool. Can we then go back and charge them? Like, can we be like, hey, we've gotten you this much views, it's worth this much in the free marketplace, like now you owe us for playing your game? Like, the door swings both ways.
I actually agree with that, and just in the sense that like it's not looking into the time, like the 100% seizure of the money doesn't go into the time that we have to put into editing the video and putting it on the video and putting our audience's eyes on it. Mm-hmm. It's not a matter of any of that, because Microsoft's kind of trying to do not trying to do, but I think they've talked about some similar things, or like some YouTube rules. The good news is that most companies get it. Like Sony isn't running around being like, don't fuck around with Uncharted on YouTube, we're gonna come after you. No, they're like, it's free advertising. This is stupid. We're not even in the advertising business.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? Like that's what
I think that's the thing that kills me too, is that I get where Nintendo's coming from, right? If I were sitting there a little bit removed from what the new media generation is, and I was sitting there looking at this company that I owned, I would say, hey, there's a lot of money that people are making off of us. We should get in on that. But I think that I've heard you guys talk time and time again about how sort of distanced the management of Nintendo is from really with the consumer, and this is just another example of that, right? That screams to me like we don't get it.
Exactly.
They don't get it.
And by distancing yourself from this and having people stop playing your games, even though people will continue, some sites will, a lot of sites won't, and you're just, again, paring down this group that is this generation that's coming up and only knows Minecraft and touchscreen games.
Yeah.
If they're not going to see that Smash Brothers is fun, that card is fun, then how would they know to pick that up?
Mm-hmm. They don't know
that connection isn't there anymore. This is like what Shu at the PlayStation 4 launch event, when I interviewed Shu and I brought up and I mentioned something offhandedly about how Nintendo I thought was screwing up, and we had this then diatribe about it, discussion about it. The fact that he's like, well, we want them to succeed. They need to succeed because their games are kidsy focused. So if people are playing the Wii U, they one day want to come up to a PS4. Whereas like by removing yourself from that ecosystem, by removing yourself from YouTube, by making yourself not cool, by making yourself not connected to the internet, like these are all ways to alienate your brand and just become what I'm always talking about, a toy that's on the shelf for 2-3 games.
Yeah. See, but I think that the fact that they have the program, it shows that they want to do it, and they do want to support that system. They're just doing it the wrong way.
Sure. I mean,
but like other companies don't even have that. Like Microsoft just straight up, no, just don't do it. Or like if you do it, we own the shit. And like no one cares about that. But
Microsoft doesn't have that many exclusives.
But
that's why. I mean, when Halo comes around, it'll be a bigger deal, right?
But that's the thing is, it's just like you were saying, Sony doesn't care. It's just like we're just not seeing it yet. But the thing is, all of the things, every single game can get copyright strikes.
Sure,
like, all of that.
But understand that, like, my stance would be the same if Microsoft or Sony came after our stuff too. There are lots of games and lots of publishers that, frankly, don't have their head up their ass about this kind of stuff. So we don't have to cover the big three if they all want to come after the videos that everyone's doing. That's the point. Is that I don't dispute the legality of it at all. I don't dispute that they can do whatever they want. I don't dispute that there's money to be made there. What I dispute is the intelligence of doing it. And, Jim Sterling put up an awesome video about this, and it was brilliant. And we watched it together because the stroke of genius was for the first 2 minutes he talked about it as if EA was doing it. And then he's like, by the way, I'm summarizing it, but he's basically like, by the way, I said EA over and over again because it's really Nintendo, and everyone gives Nintendo a pass on everything. So what about if it's a company that you actually hate? How would you feel about it then? And it's like, that's a really good point because Nintendo does get a pass on everything. So it's like it's interesting that they're identifying, like, if this would be a bigger deal if this was a publisher that was more loathed by someone. But a lot of these publishers need to understand that this is free advertising. They can do what they want. They own the IP. They invest a lot of money in the IP, but they make the money through game sales. And if they're smart, they understand that, like, when a tastemaker like PewDiePie plays Smash Brothers, that they have the potential to sell like 50,000 copies of the game off of one video, and that's where the money is. And
that's a huge point right there, right? Because why do people respond to PewDiePie, right? It's him. Everyone likes him first and foremost, and there's an authenticity to him picking the game that he's going to play and play it. That's where the entertainment value comes in, right? That's where the eyeballs are when you talk about marketing right now. And that's why when I talk about the YouTube audience, I look at it, it's a vast sea of creators, but really it is the probably most powerful marketing force on the planet right now. Like, if you're looking at the history of the big media outlets, like, how many of them are left? How powerful are they really? As opposed to the millions of creators out there that are one by one evangelizing your brand. They're choosing to share your brand in a very authentic and a very fun and a very simple way with their audience, and you're trying to get in the middle of that. Be careful. It's dangerous. You're flirting with potential disaster because, as we see in multiple times, if the internet decides they don't like you, holy shit, like, creators could band together and just be like, we're not doing this anymore, and boom, no one, like Greg was saying, where are people going to go to see your products? Brick and mortar stores are going out of business. Like, magazines don't exist anymore. Like, what are your opportunities to market this in an authentic, genuine way? Not, hey, we're paying someone to do this, and Lord knows we all love that when someone's like, hey, I'm getting paid to make this generic video that no one gives a shit about. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, just thinking about, like, Star Wars fan films, right? Like, or you take a property and then you make a fan film of it and then it gets taken down, like video game fan projects and all this shit. It's just like, from the beginning, you're not allowed to do it. And if people do support it, then it's like, all right, cool. But remember, I just don't understand getting mad at it.
Remember also, from the beginning, you weren't allowed to do YouTube. YouTube was 100% illegal from the get-go. It was a place where people were essentially pirating streams of videos.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's not true. YouTube is legal.
No, YouTube,
what you put on it.
Correct. But YouTube, when YouTube first launched, I looked at it and everyone looked at it and was like, Jesus, this is like the next iteration of Napster. Like, this is a huge, like, X. Like, this should not be allowed to happen. And they were in huge legal turmoil right before Google bought them. And now, what used to be illegal is now commonplace, right? And this people that are smart were like,
still illegal.
It's still illegal, but the people that are smart were like, instead of fighting against this giant tidal wave, maybe we should be figuring out the correct way to utilize it to our benefit. And that's what a lot of people have done. And I think Nintendo, to their credit, is trying to do that, but I think there's got to be a better way to do it.
It reminds me just of music in the sense that, like, you go to YouTube and you I'm just as an example, I'm a huge 311 fan or whatever. They have a huge touring audience, right? And, like, so when people put the videos up, even high quality, old quality videos, they're not going to go after you because it's like, well, our money's made in ticket sales. So what if someone comes? We can go and have our label go after all these people and have all their videos taken down, or maybe someone sees a live version of Down or whatever and they come see us. And we make $20 or $30 off of them when it would have taken us thousands and thousands of views of another video to get $20 or $30 out of someone. So it's like, it's the legality's not a problem for me. It really is, like, the intelligence behind it, especially in a competitive marketplace where, frankly, Nintendo is losing. That's the biggest part. That's the craziest part about it. Wii U has sold like 9.5 million units. So if people are playing Wii U and evangelizing, we've certainly sold Wii U's just by playing Smash Brothers. We get the tweets from people. You know what I mean? So, like, that's helping them. It doesn't make any sense. It's like a brash and arrogant move from a company that has no business being brash and arrogant. And that's the most confusing part of it of all for me. It's not even the advertising thing. Some companies will get it. Some companies do get it. How many copies of Dying Light sold because we streamed it, or because and imagine if someone like PewDiePie played Dying Light.
We're just starting out at this, and we have an awesome audience of best friends that we love very much. But yeah, we get those tweets, right? Of, saw you play IDARB and I bought it, or got it for free off Games for Gold. Everybody says that, and then Dying Light, I bought this, after watching your stream. We get that all the time. And that's what they're going to lose out on. You know what I mean? Of being able to win somebody over, I feel like. Especially if they go this way, like you're talking about with Jim. If they go down this EA route, what you think would be an evil EA decision. I'm using air quotes if you're listening to the podcast because EA isn't evil, and it's stupid that everybody keeps voting them evil.
I agree.
Let's also remember this. Like you brought up the fanfic or the fan film, that fan films that people used to do back in the day and still do to this day. You're not making any money off of that, really.
No, but I mean, like for the people that are, the people selling it.
Sure,
like,
but that's the
you
difference.
Totally are making money off.
You're
of
making
it. In the exact same way Let's Plays are.
You're making money off it, but you're not making money like Bernie's making money off of the Halo license, right? Where he had to go to them, get the Halo license, and now we can do Red versus Blue and sell DVDs and Blu-rays, and he must be making hundreds of thousands of dollars off that potentially. I don't know the facts. That's different than, I mean, look at the average metrics on a Let's Play video. We're making what, $10 off of that? So they're going to come in and take $3 out of that? Like what? I don't know. It's not enough of an incentive for us as creators to be like, shit, we really need your product. In reality, we can make, like, to us, it's pretty much even. It's just all about what we're passionate about. And we can go find other games we're passionate about.
But yeah, but if we're getting 70% of it, like, then we're just losing out on 30%.
So you say
no,
$10,
but I mean,
say $10,
yeah,
right? Okay, $5 goes to YouTube. Mm-hmm. Then we split the other 70%, so we get about $3 per video. Versus if we're going to go play another game, we get $5 per video, and we're just going to go play another game. That's what's going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's like, whatever, it's $2. Like, I understand that makes sense, but it's like, if we want to play the Nintendo games...
Sure, but then it's $2 plus times the loss of efficiency of having to get every single one of our videos approved. Are you kidding me with that?
Exactly.
Like, what kid sitting in his basement in Minnesota is going to be like this? Oh, I hope this one gets approved, and waits to make
a shit ton. Like, for that example, that's a bad example, because the kids sitting in the basement, that's all they want. To them, they see this as support from Nintendo, not as being held back.
I don't know. Like, I'm interested in that standpoint, because I haven't delved too deep into it, but I don't see anyone being positive about this, like, at all. Like, like, from the things I've read, some people are like, this is asinine.
Yeah, but the people that are responding, the people that are talking about this, are the ones that are either just completely uninformed and are just, like, angry to be angry about something, or it's the people that this is affecting, like us. Like, it is the YouTube creators who are upset, and that makes total sense. But for all the random kids, now they have a guarantee that they're protected by Nintendo. They're getting 70%. When
so
before,
it's protection.
They weren't. No, but that's what I'm saying, though. Like, if I never
sounds
worked,
like we own a liquor store and they come in.
No,
like,
but that's the thing, though. It's like they know that they can get that, so it's a guarantee to them. As long as this lasts.
I understand that, but also they say that the terms can change unilaterally,
of course,
whenever they want. But
always.
Yeah,
of course. But I'm sorry to interrupt. It's just like there are. We had Mega Ran on earlier, and we know Mega Ran. And when we was on Podcast Beyond, he was talking about how Capcom supported. He was scared. In fact, he talked about how he called himself Mega Ran because he didn't like. He was known as random, but he was afraid, like, if he was sampling Capcom music, which he was, that maybe he would get in trouble. And Capcom ended up coming to him, and they were like, no, this is, like, great, because they realized that, like, what if someone falls down the rabbit hole and is like, oh, that beat's awesome, that beat from Wily's awesome, no, that's Mega Man 2's Dr. Wily theme. Right. Oh, Mega Man 2, I haven't played Mega Man 2 in a while, and then they go and buy it. And like, and so they were all over it. It's the same reason why Mega Man. We were talking about fan films. Capcom lets you make fan games. Mega Man Cross Street Fighter is a fan made authorized Mega Man game that they helped put out.
They're not going to make Mega Man games.
No, that's true. Well, they will eventually. Or Mega Man Unlimited, where they're basically like, well, we can make a Mega Man game. We did. We just made Mega Man 9 and 10 and all this kind of stuff. But that's pretty cool that you care about it, and it's just good for our brand, and it gets people excited about it.
Yeah.
To me, that's just a no-brainer. Again, they're doing their thing, and that's fine. The good news about Nintendo doing this is it's not that disastrous for Kind of Funny or other people out there, because they only release a few games of any consequence every year. So it's like, we'll miss out on Zelda and Star Fox or something like that this year. Theoretically. But what if the bigger disaster, and I don't know, like, where everyone falls, like all the publishers fall into this, they probably have some rules that they probably just don't follow up on, and everyone has their different rules. But if, like, EA or Sony or Activision or Ubisoft, if they all started doing that, then we'd be in a lot of trouble.
But
the good news is that
all of them do. It's just not like no one cares because they talk about it for 1 week and then it falls away and just no one cares about it anymore.
And that's,
but we're seeing it.
Do we really feel like that's not going to be the case here as well?
I honestly, dude, I don't think this is going to affect much of anything when it comes to us. Like, I could be totally wrong about this, but, like, for any of the major players that get into a network, like Collective or Maker or any of them, they have totally different rules. So then it's like, we can talk to them. They have different connections with all these different people. Then it's like, well, we get a different split. Then all of a sudden it makes sense.
The concept of control, I have an issue with when it comes to YouTube, because the platform is fundamentally based on freedom. It is fundamentally based on creation in its purest state. And when you start having people come in and say, "Hey, we're going to approve different things for you," you are cutting out what makes. You're basically cutting out the thing that makes what we do special, which is that we get to do whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it. And there's a power to that, and that's why YouTube is the dominant platform.
But it's like selling a painting without buying the paint. Like you were
No,
using someone else's paint to make something.
By old definition of how we've always thought things should happen. Yes, you're 100% right. Again, no one's arguing the legality of it. It's the spirit of the law that people need to be that Nintendo really needs to look at and say, what are we doing by imposing these harsh restrictions on these content creators? Are we going against the grain of what YouTube and what really all of us stand for, which is we're not TV for the last 60 years, where we have to go through all these approval processes and you have to make sure that your product's represented correctly and it's not, there's all these rules and regulations. We're the opposite of that, which is why we're so valuable, is because people look at us because we love what we do and we love the products we put in front of them as influencers. And if we start taking a step back to that and taking a back seat to these big companies, then we will no longer have that much sort of power with our audience. We'll basically just be we will be seen as an arm of marketing for Nintendo and for Activision.
And that's the question I have here. This isn't the question. Is this happening yet? Are people signed up? Are the approval process happening? What do we know anything about the approval process? Because if I'm playing Smash, I'm like, oh man, Link's down B sucks. And then they're gonna see that and be like, "You can put this video up, but you can't say that."
There's a lot of questions about what about reviews or what about all this stuff, and can they take it down? I mean, that's the thing. They can. They are allowed to do all that. We'll see if they actually do. And that it's a very slippery slope. And like at the end of the day, I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. Like I don't agree with this, and I think Nintendo's doing it wrong. And I wish they took a different approach. We're just like, hey, sign up for this program. We just fucking support it. Yeah. We are going to protect you, and you are going to get 100%. Go market our games and go have fun. Yeah. That's what I think they should do. But I'm just saying, I think that people that are like, fuck you, that's the wrong approach.
For the people who are like, fuck you, I think they are ignoring the fact that this is at least a step forward, as before when it was we own everything, lock, stock, and barrel. At least now they are trying to work with you, give you 70%. I give them that. I still agree fundamentally, yes, they own the product, they made the thing. I still think that's so weird to talk about, because you're talking about the paint and the painting and all this different stuff when it's like it's a platform, and then what happens in a Smash match is because of us, not because it's this weird. It is weird, but there's no way. There's no right or wrong to it. But I understand what you're saying, and I agree that legally they own it. But yeah, again, it just seems like such a dumb decision.
I have a question and then a comment. The question is: so Activision, Ubisoft, and everyone all have these kind of rules. Because that's what you said before.
I don't say they all do.
Because I've not heard that. I mean, maybe it's true, but I've not heard that.
Well, that's the thing, though. Is like all the different companies, they all do have rules. How they implement them and like where they're public, I don't know. But I mean
how
like,
they enforce them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's the thing, though. Like every day people get copyright strikes for playing games, no matter what it is. Whether it's the music in Assassin's Creed or some other stuff. And I get that the music's some other thing, but it's just like, but Ubisoft could go in and be like, oh, no. The music is protected through whatever, but they don't.
Could they? Because that just seems like a YouTube error, because you could just upload the Assassin's Creed soundtrack, and then that's a giant problem, obviously.
Yes, but they could put in the whitelist thing for that and all this. What I'm saying is like, there's so much that goes into this, and there's so many facets in so much different ways. But when we look at last night I looked because I was like, are we getting dinged for this? We are not. We're just straight up not. The 100% thing, it hasn't been affecting us. We've been playing Smash Bros. So I don't know.
I mean, I also think that I don't know that they know how big of an uphill battle this is to actually enforce all this stuff. I mean, you need an entire division of your company to actually do this and work with YouTube and work with these individual creators. You're going to tell me that I'm going to submit a video. I am one of how many content creators are creating content around Nintendo, and those videos are going to, each and every one of those is going to get scrutinized and approved. It's not going to happen. And you're talking about thousands of videos a day that need to get approved. Mm-hmm. That's, I mean, I've seen this. I've seen it time and time again, because YouTube is such a new platform. We all forget about it, but 7 years is a drop in the hat when it comes to media. A drop in the pond, rather, when it comes to media. A drop in the hat would be a little bit bigger.
My hat's wet!
Well, who put this drop of water in my hat? But yeah, I mean, I think they're biting off a lot more than they can chew. And I think a lot of these other companies have been through this rigmarole already, where they're like, oh, we're going to start charging people. And like, holy shit, this is...
And then they back the fuck off.
Even to manage partners. Like, when we used to work at IGN, we'd manage partners, like the individual channels. It's a full-time job.
Well, it's managing channels.
Yeah.
Like, so you get 60% for videos.
You literally need hundreds, if not thousands, of employees to do this. So, good luck. Because you're going to get bogged down with this so fast, they're just going to forget about it.
And I just want to dispute one fact, because I disagree with something Greg said, which was that, like, well, it's a step in the right direction. But that's like walking into a toilet, like into a bathroom, and peeing all over the toilet, and then taking a napkin and cleaning it up and being like, well, it's clean now. And it's like, but you just pissed on it. You know what I mean?
I do that every day.
The toilet was already clean. You know, like you defiled the toilet, and then you cleaned it back up, and you're like, well, now it's better. But it's like the condition.
A step towards being clean. Which would be a step in the right direction.
It is a step in the right direction.
Defense
but the
he
point,
just said it is.
No, but the point is that the point is that the condition was made by them because again, I dispute their opening sentence. The rule is the rule, yeah, but like a lot of record labels and gaming companies don't do anything about those rules.
Yeah, but even more do. Like this, like when it comes to record labels or movies and all this stuff, like games are just different because it's weird and it's a new thing.
Yeah,
that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we are making the content, but that's like it's the exact same thing as doing a movie commentary over movie footage. It's like, yeah, the content you're giving them is your commentary, but you were using their footage, like.
But see, like this is one of the things, and I know.
So you didn't like my Toilet
This is spiraling off into a different direction, of course. But I don't even feel it's the same because the movie will be the same movie you watch each and every time. Whereas even with the story-based linear game of Uncharted, the way I take down this enemy is going to be different than how Nick takes down this enemy. And when you're getting into something like Smash, the way we fight is, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I'm not. This isn't where I don't want to fight this fight. I'm not trying to take this hill. I'm just saying that that's what I always think about when you watch somebody play. When you look at somebody on Twitch watching us play games, they go and buy Dying Light not because they want to relive the exact same moment we had when we took down those guys with the giant sledgehammers. No, they want to go and have their own story and their own world and their own thing. Whereas, like, yeah, me watching Fast and the Furious through YouTube off of somebody's stream or whatever would be me watching the exact same movie. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't go get that movie where I would go get that game.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a new platform, and all these, like, there's the South Park episode that covered Let's Plays. Like, they really nailed it on the head. Like, did you guys see that? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like the idea of why would he brings home the new Call of Duty, and his little brother just doesn't want to play because he's just watching it, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of the game companies, Nintendo included, probably look at that and they're like, oh, if people are doing this, they're just not going to buy the game, and they're not understanding this. And like that I know. Hard. But here's the thing, though. It's like we're talking about, like, oh yeah, we're selling games. But how many games are they not selling? Because there are other people that are like, I'm not going to play. I just want to
But those are people I don't think you could win to begin with. Those are the people who showed up last night to watch me play Criminal Girls invite only, knew they weren't going to buy Criminal Girls, but they wanted to check it out.
And I'm sure you sold a couple copies.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You get there's that 1%, right? If you can get 1% of this audience to go do that, that's something.
But then here's the business argument is, okay, that 1%, does that add up to how much money they are going to make from the YouTube revenue? Yeah. Right? And that's just business, and I understand it's business for right now, not for later. And again, I wish Nintendo didn't do this. It's fucking stupid. I do think it's a step in the right direction. That I do think at the core of it, it's Nintendo trying to be cool, but they're the fucking old weird uncle that he can't be cool, but he's trying, and he's doing it the wrong way, and he's putting his hands in places he shouldn't be.
Oh, Uncle Nintendo, no.
Here's the worrying thing about it. It's not that Nintendo, like, again, no one disputes the legality of it. It's the wisdom of it, right? And here's the frustrating part about it to me. Nintendo's a company with a lot of prestige and a lot of power. They make great games, right? They don't make many games anymore, but the games that they come out are great. That's one of the reasons why I'm not so worried about this. If they come after us at some point in the future, be like, fine, we just won't cover your games anymore. But to me, it's like now the other publishers and first parties are looking at this, and they can do one of two things, right? They can be like, this is a terrible idea. Look how people are beating up on Nintendo. We are cool for not doing this. Yep. And this is what I think, and just based on how Sony's treated everything the last 2 years, I think that they're going to take that tact. In my opinion. To be like, they probably have some rules somewhere.
To be
being
fair,
like,
though, no one's like, when I say no one, I'm saying it lightly, but people aren't playing Sony games on Let's Plays. Like, that is like
we're waiting for them to come out.
But that's such a small sphere. Like, Let's Plays are MOBAs, they are Minecraft style games, they are first person shooters, and Nintendo games.
But I mean, this goes back to the fact of, like, not to cut you off either, buddy.
It's fine.
The story based game of how many people played through the Left Behind and put it up in Last of Us, right? That is even more, I think, in tune with this argument, right? Of that is a story. Like the fact that you can Google Uncharted cutscenes and get the entire Uncharted game told in cutscenes, right? Like, that is a thing, and sure, they aren't as big as the MOBAs.
It is definitely a thing, but it is, the pie chart, it's ridiculous, like how big the sectors are for Nintendo or the things I just said.
But the point I'm trying to make, regardless of like who's doing it and how they're doing it, is that my assumption is that Sony will be like, no, we are for the gamers. This is what we've been doing. When a game actually worth streaming comes out, which there hasn't been many, like, from the first party in a long time, maybe Infamous or something like that, then, like, we're just going to let them do Uncharted and all that kind of stuff. Microsoft seems like they actually have some stringent rules as far as I understand. So we're going to see, like, when Gears and Halo come out, how that all shakes out. The thing I'm saying is that it worries me if they can see if EA and Ubisoft and all these companies, regardless of the rules, and it seems like it's nebulous, maybe they have rules and they don't enforce them, is that they can literally all gang up on everyone, and that's the worrying thing, where it'd be like, we're all gonna do it, and that could screw everything up, or companies deviate in the other direction and like, this is a bad idea, and then Nintendo's like, you're right, And that's like what I hope happens is that.
I do think that's what's going to happen.
I mean, there's also the issue of collective bargaining, right? Where you have, okay, they go all in, and then all the big MCNs go, okay, well now we need to negotiate these, because for all of our creators, who are, by the way, the top tier creators, if you're a top tier creator, you're probably partnering up with an MCN. They'd have to negotiate, which I know that in the past I've seen that have to happen. Where you're like, look, what's good for these individual contributors is not going to work for us. We have legitimate business to run. Let's figure out a better rate where we can license your games in perpetuity, but not for 30% of our revenue.
Yeah, 30% of the 50% we get.
Right. It needs to be more like 5 or 10% max. And then that's just free money. Why wouldn't they go for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting because I was fascinated by this, not because I was worried about it, because there are Nintendo centric channels that are going to be really affected by this, and I feel bad for them because they are going to lose a lot of money off this. If you're a big Nintendo channel that has millions of viewers and stuff like that, you're going to be screwed off this. Because they're basically just taking 30% of your money. I mean, that's like basically what's happening, as opposed to the 100% of the money in the condition that they created. And so, it's just weird to me that it's a conversation of not legality, but again, as Nick was saying, of wisdom. And what is the wisdom saying? What does the data say? Because surely these companies have data. Maybe Nintendo has data, like you were insinuating, that says like when someone watches someone play Smash Brothers, they don't buy Smash Brothers. But that doesn't make sense to me, because you were bringing up a game like Minecraft. Like Minecraft is Minecraft because of YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, and so all you have to do is look at a game like that, and everyone can dream. All the devs and publishers can dream of having a game like Minecraft, which grew because of word of mouth, not because of anything else. It was made by like a few people, Yeah. So like, and now it's like one of the top 5 best-selling games of all time because of the YouTube generation sharing it with each other, and that's so like they just have to. Hopefully, they take their blinders off and realize like, hey guys, like this doesn't affect so much Smash Brothers to me or Star Fox or Zelda. What it really says to me is like, think about the residents of Super Metroid, of us just playing Super Metroid and talking about. We just did a very brief Let's Play and introduced our video game book club for Super Metroid. Dude, we've sold for them, I would say, scores of copies of that game, and like, because we get tweets every day being like, I'm ready, I'm done, and I'm playing it so hard, or I'm really enjoying it, or it's not that good, or whatever their opinions are. But us talking about the game in as limited a way we have, with as limited a reach that we have, because we are very small compared to a lot of these great creators out there. The money is in game sales, just like the money in concert or money in music is in concerts, not record sales. That's why a lot of these bands let their live footage stay on YouTube. So it's the long game. You got to play the long game.
And again, that's what I'm saying is that once you start going through that rabbit hole, where does it stop? Because the power of what we're doing is that we're not trying to sell games. That's not our business. Mm-hmm. We're not out here trying to sell games for people. We're just out here playing games that we love. And if other people want to partake in them, should they choose to go buy that game, that's their prerogative. Right, I don't think we've ever said go buy this game right now. Go buy this game right now.
DC Universe Online, go buy that game right now.
Jesus Christ, with that, keep touting that flag. But yeah, I mean, it's just it really does come down to are you a company that wants to survive in this new wave of doing things, or are you really, really stuck to the old way? And there's got to be some in between. And I get that they're, in any negotiation, you go 100% in one direction and then you try to meet in the middle. My hope is that Nintendo wants to meet in the middle on some level. Otherwise, they are going to be assing out a lot of people, a lot of good content creators from showcasing their brand. But if that's the case, then so be it. It
is what it is. And I also think, this comes back to anyone who's read a lot about Nintendo and has been with Nintendo as long as, some of us, everyone at this table has, and I certainly have been. We learn a lot from Game Over, Console Wars, and books like that. Like, Nintendo's always been a company obsessed with control. And guess what? It's not working. You know what I mean? Like, it alienated third parties. It did all, it alienated your user base. It did all these things. It's not working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it just, it all comes back to that central tenet of control. It worked when you were the only kid on the block. In NES and SNES, you were not the only kid on the block anymore. That's the big problem.
That's the hard thing with this new generation of creators, is that it's a leap of faith. You don't really know. I don't know if there are I'm sure there's companies out there that you can pay millions of dollars. They'll give you those hardcore analytics. But at the end of the day, it's almost instinctual. You just have to kind of take it on instinct that it's working, that this method of delivering your message to the audience works better than the old school methods that you've been used to for the last 50 years. And if you look at how things are have been marketed to people, like, there has been a huge uptake and a huge shift over to YouTube content creators because there is a more authentic experience, right? But that's definitely scary because you don't have any control over that. You don't have any control of what comes out of Colin Moriarty's mouth. No one puts Colin Moriarty in a corner.
No one can control.
One of the best things about Colin Moriarty is that he can't be put in a box.
He can't be put in a box.
We established that already.
He's like a cat, just arms all out.
Let me tell you this.
That's like going
Let me
in the
tell you
box.
this. If someone managed to get you in a box, that is not a box that I would want to unpack, my friend. I would not want to unpack that box.
If someone puts me in a box, is it a box at all?
I mean,
Think about that.
Fuck.
I don't even understand what that means.
Inception.
All right,
He can't
guys.
be put in a box, and he's put in a box. It isn't a box. That's what it means.
Holy shit. Okay.
It's a prison cell of lust.
So we're going to move on. That was riveting, and we talked way longer than I expected us to, but that was good.
No, it was fun.
I think the people are
We
gonna
have,
like
you know,
that.
we have things we need to say about this. It's
Yes.
It's very frustrating, dude. It all comes. I know you want to move on, Tim. I'm just gonna finish with this. Like, it all comes back to my eternal frustration with that company these days about how much I want them to win me back and how much I want to give them money and how much they just keep telling me they don't care. You know what I mean? Like, they're just a question. They just make questionable decisions over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I just, it's so frustrating. It's like, Nintendo, I want you to come back into my life. I want you to
back.
where are you at, Nintendo?
Where you at, Nintendo?
Where are you at, Nintendo?